Things were great. Money was coming easy. I owned investment properties. I honestly felt I was untouchable. Talk about a humbling experience, but I lost everything. Crash happened. I had to file bankruptcy. This is now the third business that I've owned. First business was a real estate and mortgage company. First company I started, I was 24. Timing was really good in the beginning because I got into the mortgage business in 1999. And then 6-year run, we had an incredible run. The crash happened in 2008. At the time of the crash, I had 5 office buildings that I had purchased. I owned them. Of course, the bank owned it, but I was paying, I got mortgages on them. I had almost 100 employees. We had about 75, I think, at the peak. And things were great. I was in my early 30s. Money was coming easy. And I was buying a lot of real estate. I owned investment properties. I honestly felt I was untouchable. I realized quickly how I was far from untouchable. And talk about a humbling experience, but I lost everything. Crash happened. I had to file bankruptcy. No kids. So I had no responsibility at the time. When you have kids, it changes a whole thing, man. It changes their whole perspective. But at that time, I was upset, of course, but I knew I was going to make money again. So it's just a matter of what I was going to do. And at the time, digital marketing was just becoming hot. There was a thing called MySpace that came out. Facebook wasn't even out at the time. This was now 2008, 2009. And I said, this SEO thing is there's something to it. And let me go all in on that. Without a college degree, I had limited opportunities. I had limited choices. So I had to look at honestly, just such a simple thing. I asked myself, what is the next thing? What's happening now? And at the time, it was search engine optimization. Google was just exploding. And really simple. I looked at mostly law firms that were spending so much money on yellow page ads and advertising, and I knew that money was going to shift to digital. It was just, the writing was on the wall. You knew it was going to happen, and there wasn't a lot of companies at the time in digital marketing. So I said, let me build a digital marketing company. So I started a company called Patent Marketing, and I said, this time I'm going to do a little different. The first time around, I wanted to be the biggest company. I wanted to hire, and again, I had 5 office buildings, and I wanted to get more. Ironically, at the time that the crash happened, I bought a building, the Ferlita building in downtown Tampa, and I was going to live on the top floor, build another office in the second floor, and then put a coffee shop on the first. So, as you could tell, I was super aggressive. I was swinging for the fences. But I wanted big. I wanted to own everything. And that was a really good lesson to learn there, is that there's always going to be somebody that's bigger, and you don't have to, big is not the key here. It's building a lifestyle that you want, that's best for your family, and you learn this stuff through trial and error. But what I did now, that second business, is I said, I'm going to build a very small company. I'm going to go as lean as possible, not hire anybody. And that's what I did. I got an office in India, and I built a company called Patent Marketing. And we were small revenue. We might have done top 1.5 million in revenue. So we were small, but very profitable. What I did for this business is I found a freelancer in India, Gujarat, India, and he was great. Jatish and Krunal, there's actually 2 of them. And I told them, look, I'm a rainmaker. I'll bring in the business. I need you to deliver the work. So you do all the work for me and the back end stuff, because I'm not good at that. And I knew enough that I could sell it, but I don't want to get involved in the day-to-day operations. I'll just bring the business in, the opportunities in, and I'll pay you 22 cents on the dollar. I'll bring all the business in, and if I'm bringing in $10,000, they're going to get 2,200 of that. So they agreed to it. I said, but there's a catch here. If I don't bring anything in, 22% of 0 is 0. So I'm not going to be able to pay you, because again, I just went bankrupt. I was dead broke. So they agreed to that, and that was probably a tough decision for them to say, I don't even know this guy, and I'm going to trust him. And they did trust me, and we ended up having a long relationship. To this day, we still keep in touch. So that was a turning point, was when they took a chance on me, and then I also partnered with them and said, hey, let's do this together. Patent Market ended up selling a couple years ago. It was a small exit, but a company called Brandstar, run by a fantastic guy, Mark Alfieri, really, really amazing person. It didn't work like we had planned it to, and that puts me in the position that I'm at now. Right now, Brandstar ended a couple years ago, so it's been a little bit. But I struggled after that with identity. I didn't know what I was going to do. Am I an entrepreneur? Am I going to work for this company, Brandstar? Because what happened is I sold to Brandstar. I stayed on with them for about 3 years, maybe 4 years. And then once we merged everything in, and I really didn't feel like I fit in there, and I wasn't sure what am I going to be an employee at a company here? And it's just not my style. It's not me. So it just didn't work out. Fortunately, and I'm glad that the staff, some of the staff that was with me at Patent Marketing is still at Brandstar today, and a lot of the clients are still part of that digital division that's run by an awesome guy, Seth Rand. So anyway, that didn't work out, and that's okay. That's part of business. But what was the next thing I was going to do? I didn't know. I had no clue what I was going to do next. I did a lot of thinking. I actually took our family on a trip. We went to Europe for 3 months, and that was something Mark allowed me to do during this transition. It was amazing. I worked while I was there. I was actually building a business plan that I was going to do with Brandstar. It just didn't work out, but that was a life changer, that experience. And I took advantage of that, with a daughter at the time in 8th grade, 7th grade going into 8th. I knew that my time was limited. Because once they get to high school, that's the last thing they're going to want to do is go on a trip with their family. So this was the window was closing. So we did it, and I'll have one of the episodes of this video series about that trip, because it was a really, really amazing experience. But again, when I got back, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I didn't know what the next step was, and for career. And I started thinking about what was the next thing. And obviously AI is big, but that's such a general thing. And it's still, I'm not a tech person at all. And I'm like, do I want to learn AI? So I started doing some consulting and met some great people. And I said, let me do this. A great way in business, always in networking, is to talk to people that are more successful than you are. And I said, let me start a podcast called Opportunity Knocks. And I'll interview, and this wasn't a business. This was more of a way to network and get myself out there. So I would interview South Florida's top entrepreneurs and find out when an opportunity knocked on their door and how they took advantage of it. And through that, you build relationships. One of those relationships I built was with a woman by the name Lil Roberts, who's a rock star. And Lil owns, she's a serial entrepreneur. She owns a company called Zendu. And I did some consulting work with her for maybe 5-6 months through that podcast that I did, through that whole experience. So through doing that podcast, I had brought in a few companies that were in the home service industry. And I saw a huge opportunity in that space. And again, tying in some of the new technologies, AI and things like that, I started realizing there's a big, big opportunity here to really fix a industry, which is, I'm talking about the home service industry, that's broken. There's sites like Angie's List and Yelp and these sites like that people just don't trust anymore. And the companies don't like dealing with them. There was a broken industry here that I thought I could fix. I really did. I thought that there was a way that I could bring some of my skill set as well as some of the technology that's just coming out, AI and things like that, and I could fix that. So business number 3 is one home service. And I'm going to start off by giving you the car analogy. So if you have a car, you know that every 5,000 to 10,000 miles, depending on what kind of car you have to get an oil change. And if you go a little bit over that, you're like, oh, I'm stressed out. I hope I'm not ruining my car. That's a car that might be $60,000, it might be $30,000, it might be $100,000. But a lot of times you're leasing it. It's not even, you don't even own it. What about your house? Your house, especially in South Florida, is over $1 million in value, but we're not taking care of it. And we don't have that urgency like we do the oil change. And what One Home is going to do is change that. It's going to basically make you stay on top of maintaining your house the right way. And that's going to save you money in the long run, but it's also going to help you sell your house. Whenever you're ready to sell your house, you're going to sell it faster because you have, and I'm going to give you an analogy, a Carfax. If you're selling a car and you have a Carfax, People feel comfortable. They're like, oh, I know it's good. No different than One Home. So what we do is we've identified 18 maintenance notifications. These are things that should be maintained inside your house and basic maintenance. And we send these notifications to you automatically through the app. So you get a notification, and in that notification, there's a video, a do-it-yourself video, so you can do it yourself, or there's a little button that you said, just hire us, and we'll do it. Either way, this way you're maintaining your home the right way. And more importantly, or just as important, you're keeping a record of that. So now you have a record of that home. So fast forward a year from now, you sell the house, and buyers look at 3 different houses, but one of those houses is One Home certified. It's got a full record, not only of all the vendors that have worked on the house, it's got pictures of all the maintenance that was done. It's got the dates that it was. I mean, I'm buying that house without a doubt. So One Home is going to be a tool to help homeowners manage their house, but it does so much more than that. One of the challenges homeowners has is when they look for a new service. I got to get my gutters cleaned. Who knows who does gutters? I have no clue. So you go to Facebook, you go to Yelp, you go to these places, but do you really know? You don't. And now you have somebody coming to your house, and it's like, oh gosh, is this? So what One Home does is we vet companies and we put them on our platform. So if you want to actually learn about the company, you can actually go on your app, watch a video of that owner of the company, and you can get to know these people. All these companies that we have on there are minimum 4.5 star Google stars or higher. So these are highly respected companies, and they're licensed, they're insured. So you're getting a quality company. Doesn't mean it's the cheapest, and that's not what we're looking for, but you're going to get a company that's honest, good, and run by good people. And ultimately, that's what you want when it comes to managing your house. So what's next? This is when it gets exciting. I'm going to show you how I built One Home Service. I'm going to take you through a whole journey of how I got from January 1st when I launched to today. So the last 8 months of what I've done to get here. And then more importantly, what are we doing every single day to grow this and ultimately scale this and sell this business? I'm going to document it all. Every day I'm going to do one video, and it's going to be, and this is just a longer one because it's the first one introducing it, but I'm going to do one thing. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about how to take your network and get the most out of your network. You know, you work hard to build your reputation, and you have that group of business owners, friends, family that know, like, and trust you, and they want to help you. And I'm going to show you how much they want to help you. I've been amazed by it in this third business. I didn't do that with the first 2 businesses, but this one I am. So I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. But every day there's a different topic. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoy this. And again, this is my first one, so I wasn't too great at it, but I'll be getting better, I promise you. That's part of life. Thank you so much.